Oh shit. Here we go again.
Low, low, man. Low, low, man.
You like contracts, right? You're a contract guy.
I read contracts instead of conventional pornography, yes.
All right, a little bit early there on the get-go, but good to see you guys. We are back. First live in a very long time. Great to see everybody here, and I'm super excited to be back and talking to you about a couple topics tonight. I was going to just talk about the Asmongold defamation lawsuit, but we have updates on Vitali. I want to throw in some Vitali there. And then we've got also in the Mizkif lawsuit, which Asmongold is in. So I figured since we're covering one lawsuit and that's pretty quick, let's just go ahead and give an update on the Mizkif lawsuit because that's also something that's processing right now. And I can kind of knock all of these things out. But I'm back. I am in good form here today, except for I kind of got either got a cold or Bangkok's got this stuff. It's called PM 2.5. It's really bad air quality. And it's been really bad lately, and that probably got me congested, something like that. But whatever, I'm not 100% here. You might hear me sneezing and grabbing for the Kleenexes back here, but we're doing good. My spirits are high, and I'm always glad to be back. We should be on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick right now, so we're on all three platforms. Emoji updates for those members out there. Emoji updates. The Kick, I uploaded, I think, all of them on Kick, so that should have most of them over there, and then YouTube has them as well. So kind of updating it, getting you some Mudang in your life, and Mudang is also back. There was a point at which, and we got Mudang over here. Nice. There was a point at which I was worried for Mudang because of some baggage mishandling, but she's back. She's loving Bangkok. She's having a great time. Also, I did not have the bag with my regular camera in it. So I'm using my AI camera, which sometimes tracks and moves around. So I may be reaching for the camera, at some point. Of course, people are going to say when I reach for the camera that I'm doing some sort of salute. That's not the case. It's me reaching for the camera to adjust it. But anyways, here you go. Here's Mudang. Doing good. Got her I love Bangkok hat. We all love Bangkok, right? It's a good thing. Oh yeah, good to see everybody here today in the house. Let me get some of these here. Delva Vict 4604, welcome as a new member. Edmund Weber 3133, welcome as a new member. You got access to all the Mudangs. Honor Sharp, member for 22 months. Based said this is just like my last time with the lawyer. Wait, they showed up early? Doug Diaz gifting 5 legal mindset memberships. Thank you so much, Doug.
Yes.
Mads 12344, member for 14 months, is welcome back. I'm glad to be back. And it's good to be back doing lives again. I missed the lives. I did a members only just to test out the setup with this my travel camera. This is the one I use for going anywhere. And this year in 2026, I have set a goal for myself, and that is to travel more. So I didn't do as much traveling last year as I wanted to for various reasons. But this year, no excuses. So you're going to see this view a lot more because I'll be traveling and using my laptop, not using my setup with the DSLR camera, etc. So there's going to be a lot with this viewpoint. So it is what it is. It's a very good camera. The Instalink too. I do recommend that for those that want a travel camera that's really compact. I get it down into a very small case and can carry it very easily. So good. Instalink too. Great camera to go. About time. I lost contact with my favorite lawyer. No, I'm always here. I've been here. I did lose my US phone for a while, so I was out of contact for a little bit on some of the platforms, but got it back, got everything set up. We're all set. DCV said, reaching for the camera equal hitting Mudang shock collar. Yes, when I go to reach for the camera, that's me shocking Mudang, right? Hold on. Did it just adjust? Okay, no, stop that. Stop that camera. We're not having that today. We're chilling. Okay, there we go. Okay, we'll see what. No, bad AI, bad. Okay, all right. Chairman Mudang demands a Technicolor revolution. No, we're not. This is not Persia. We're not having a revolution here right now against the mindset caliphate. No, we're not doing that. We're just chilling. We're having a good time. We're talking about Vitali first because that's a little bit quicker, and then we get into the Asmongold stuff. Fate 51, 57 is a new member. Welcome. Good to see you guys here. Yeah, we're not doing that, chat. Danielle will ban anybody who dares to speak heresy against the God Emperor mindset, right? We're not having that. We don't tolerate any insubordination here. Just very good questions. We do like very good questions. Okay. All right. Actually, her hat looks a little bit off. Hold on. I gotta fix this. Okay, my OCD was triggered there. The hat was not centered enough. Good to see there's a lot of 40K fans in the chat here too. Okay, so we got Vitali here. Vitali was released, was deported. He was deported to Russia, not America. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the updates on Vitali and just my initial thoughts here. So, they have this clip here of him united in Russia. He's wearing Aiden Ross's swag. He's kind of coming out here. He's got his 4 bags of stuff there. So, you see this side, and really, I'm going to put up a poll in the chat, and this is for you guys to decide, not me. Is Vitali changed, right? And I'll look at what you guys say on all the platforms here, but is Vitali changed, yes or no? This wholesome video would imply that he maybe is, and maybe he's trying to prioritize things like faith or family, etc. But this comment he left on his X account that he posted on his X account, I'm going to read this over here. After 290 days in Philippine jail with rats, cockroaches, and 35 plus Celsius weather, I am finally free. They tried to break me, but it built me. Out of the 290 days, I spent 91 in complete isolation. I'm not sure that I would have to fact check that one because I'm not sure why they put him in isolation for that long. We'll see. Maybe they just put him in a single cell. I don't know if it was the freezer box. They wanted me gone, but I'm here. All glory to God. So, and then he's got some pictures here, which I'll just scroll through for you. Here's him where it's raining, I guess. He's looking out the bars, here's him in I guess this is some detention center. He doesn't look too, and then here him packed in with all the other detainees. I think they're doing a Bible study or something like that. We're doing some reading. It looks like a Bible study though. Now, is he genuinely changed? That comment, they wanted me gone. I don't think anybody wanted him killed. Maybe they wanted him off of social media, but truth of the matter is he's now back on it, right? So Kick has now unbanned him as well. And once again, I think given the situation, given the time, let's see what happens with him going forward. Does he go back to trying to make this type of content again? This is the infamous video, right, where he was harassing the Filipinos. Is he going back to making that content, or is he going and changing and making different content where he's helping people, right? Let's see what he does. I can read from you the press briefing. And this is a quick press briefing. This was a summary that was sent to me. And it's all white. So, shield your eyes for the flashbang that's about to happen right now. But let's read this for you. This is the press briefing from Secretary Ramula. So Ramula said, and this is going through this with you guys. Let me see if I can zoom in real quick. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we tackle 2 things. First is the deportation of Vitaly Zordovetsky, a Russian blogger who was in prison for harassment. He was served out his sentence. He's now in queue for deportation. Let's address the first one. To the process of deportation, I turn you over to Attorney Arvind Caesar. They said the process of deportation is at the Bureau of Immigration. They've already issued a deportation order against Vitali. The deportation order states that his deportation is subject to the clearances from MBI and the courts where he has pending cases. Those got resolved, by the way. The case against him in the Taguig Regional Trial Court and Metropolitan Trial Court have been resolved, and the penalties are deemed to have been served. So the time that he served, 9 months, was sufficient. So he can rightfully be deported. We're coordinating with the country which he is to be deported, Russia. Perhaps you have some questions since he's a U.S. green card holder, but also a Russian citizen. So the process is he's to be deported not to the country of residence, but the country of his passport of origin. So his passport is from Russia. We're coordinating the deportation with Russia. We're going to escort him to Russia. His flight will be from Kalimbo, Aklan, Manila, directly to Moscow. Let this be a reminder to all visitors here in the Philippines that we always welcome tourists and visitors. We treat them with respect, and we expect them to follow the same rules as we follow when we travel. We have no ill feelings against Vitali. He served his time and has shown his remorse, and he's now a free man to go back to Russia. Anything to add? None. You can leave now. That's very no nonsense from Ramula over there. So that's essentially what it is. We'll see what happens. Looking at the poll right now, 84% of you, it went down to 82% of you. 82% of you think that he is changed. Not going to change. So 82% of you think he's going to be back to doing the same shit, right? And I hope that's not true. I genuinely hope, as a person who hopes for redemption and forgiveness, and and people learning, especially if he claims to have had a genuine conversion. I hope that he does change. I do hope he changes, but we'll see. And to be honest, when you're an online content creator, especially doing that type of content, it's really hard to change. What are you going to do? But I do think there is a place for positive content, and there's a place for content that was more helpful, right? And I think Vitali is capable of doing better content. He just chooses not to do it, right? In the past, he chose not to do it. We'll see what he does in the future. Kid Loco for 2 said travel years. Oh, Pakura is on now. Tempting. Well, I'm not going that. Stick with me. Avoid the temptation of the. Hold on. Where is it?
Fighting monkey.
The monkey will still be there. Don't worry. Casual Boomer 3593 says, I'm here for the boardination. No insubordination chat. Long live the Roach King. I have seen, put it in the box. We reviewed it on my members only stream. So if you want to see that, you can go over there and check that out. I do appreciate my cameo fighting Johnny Somali. That was quite funny. Isaac says, did you see your cameo and leave this video? Yes, I did see it. It's awesome. It was great video. And there's so many cameos, Nux and Tectone, everybody else. It's really cool. I really like that. Donut Operator, Brandon Herrera was in there. Great. The Fat Hacker 5914 for 5 Oz says, potential hot take. LSF mod should be treated like a public individual, so that way he's exposed to more potential liability. Interesting. I have to think about that. That's an interesting take. Rayobi said, at least it's not Cabbage Boy. He's IRL Elfin Psyhop. Good. Hika gifted 5 Legal Minds memberships. Please say thank you if you received one of those gift memberships and now have access to all of the Mudang emojis. Yes. Okay. Let's get into the Asmongold stuff, shall we? So let's start with the Mizkif lawsuits. So there are some updates on that. So I'm going to start on that. I was originally just going to talk about defamation and get into my PP, but we're going to save the PP for last. We're gonna leave the PP for the romantic moment at the end, right? So we have these parties, and I am going to show these documents. And yes, this does put their names out there, but understand, guys, these are public documents. This is available for anybody on the internet, right? And I'm not going to go through and spend hours censoring everything or whatever, a bunch of time censoring everything, right? Their names are on here, right? I'm not maliciously doing this. This is a public court document that anybody can access freely and openly, right? So you've got these set of documents here that involve the Mizkif lawsuit. Let me get to the first one. I think that's this one right here. Okay. Oh, this is the most important one, rather. This is the response to the motion to compel arbitration. So what's important to know here, what's important to kind of focus on here, is that one of the parties, that is a Mizkif, does not want arbitration. He wants litigation because he thinks that that will, number one, drag them through the mud publicly. So everything will be exposed publicly, as these documents are, right? And number two, in arbitration, you tend to get a more technical readout, and you tend to get a very much by the book, by the law readout of and result. And the recovery would definitely be smaller, if at all. I think he's not going to get anything. I think he's going to lose, whether it's arbitration or litigation. However, he wants it to be litigated. Now, Emaru, Asmongold, OTK, Mythic, and King Gaming Labs, right, all want this to be arbitrated based on an arbitration clause, right, which is in his contract. And typically, courts will default to the arbitration clause. Now, there are situations in which arbitration is more appropriate and better, and there are situations that I think arbitration is inappropriate. And I do think there are certain industries which use arbitration in a malicious way. For example, when you buy a ticket for something, right? Let's say a cruise line or an airplane or a theme park, and they have an arbitration clause. You didn't really have a chance to negotiate that. They're kind of forcing you into an arbitration clause that was non-negotiated. I'm not as much of a fan of those. I actually think those should be litigated, right? Especially the severe cases and not forced to arbitration. However, that's what the industry prefers, and arbitration clauses are snuck into everything. And I say this as a former corporate attorney and someone who is a corporate attorney now. I have a client, right, and I'm going to have another client in a month or two. In corporate culture, corporate legal culture, you try to sneak arbitration clauses into everything because the damages, the payout is going to be lower, right? So, all right, getting back to that history here. We've got this response. So essentially, Matthew Ronaldo, who's Mizkif, right, and Mizkif Entertainment, right, wants arbitration, and they make several arguments for why this should happen. Also, they filed their motion late, so Mizkif was tardy. So Mizkif did not file his motion on time. And because of that, he had to file what's called a motion for leave because he didn't file this promptly on time. So in addition to this motion to leave is also his motion to compel arbitration. So I'm going to skip the motion to leave. Essentially, that's saying, hey, we missed a deadline. Sorry, and big sorry, right? But what he says here is that his claims are not arbitratable. I'm going to pronounce this wrong, guys. Under the ending forced arbitration of Sexual Assault and Sexual Harassment Act of 2021. So under this act, right, he's saying, hey, Congress enacted this ending the forced arbitration of sexual assault and sexual harassment for the purpose of ensuring that cases involving alleged sexual assault could not be subject to mandatory arbitration. Now, there's a point behind this. So Congress was saying, hey, look, if the recovery is typically less for arbitration, we want to make sure that these acts of sexual assault, sexual harassment are put out there through litigation to get the maximum possible penalty. And also a little bit of it is the public shaming of folks that engage in this behavior. Now, of course, just because you're being sued for sexual assault or sexual harassment doesn't mean you're guilty of that. That has to be proven through an actual judgment. But you're given the opportunity for that to happen in the light of day rather than an arbitration, which is totally off the books, right? Totally off the books. Let me get some of these chats here. Another man said, general take, if you step in the limelight, you should choose to be a public figure. I agree. And once again, it's got blessings and curses, right? People know you, people can give you, props, and you get internet clout, but you're also putting yourself out there and you're putting yourself at a little bit of risk by stepping out there. It's not all roses becoming a public figure. Mass Shadow says you leave the pee-pee for the climax of the stream. Or would that be falling action? It's the climax. Scorpion says, you're looking fit. You did miss that Florida snow, the wet kind. To be honest, I'd not be surprised if Vitaly's next podcast originates from the provincial flats of Ukraine. I hope not. So, okay, I said this on my other video about Vitaly. Let me answer this real quick. He's too old to be conscripted. Now, you can be conscripted as a reservist up to the age of 55, and he's under 55. He's in his 30s, right? But that typically is somebody who has military experience or a special set of skills, which I don't think he has. But maybe, who knows? Maybe a special exception could be made. The other thing is, if he dodged some of his draft requirements or filings, etc., registrations, then maybe he could be fined for that or punished for dodging the draft, right? So that's possible as well. We'll see what happens. Commander HHL says, thank you, Hiki, for the gift membership. See, so positive chat. I love positive chat. Let's continue. And yeah, sorry about the auto mod. I'm going to try to turn off even more. I thought I cranked that baby down, but the auto mod sometimes gets a little sassy. Okay, let's make sure I'm paused on that. Okay, there we go. All right. So he's saying it's not subject to this particular piece of legislation, saying a sexual assault dispute is a dispute involving a non-consensual sexual act or sexual contact. Accordingly, for the EFAA to prohibit arbitration, the plaintiff must allege a dispute involving a non-consensual sexual act or sexual conduct, and the lawsuit must relate to a sexual assault dispute. The Southern District of Florida, shout out, we got a Florida man meme, by the way, with me wrestling a crocodile or an alligator. I have to look very closely whether it's a crocodile or alligator. Says, Congress wrote the FFA to apply when a plaintiff alleges a sexual assault dispute, not, as defendant submits, when they plead a specific sexual assault claim, let alone a violation of a law explicitly prohibiting sexual assault. In fact, the FFA never makes use of the word claim. While a dispute may eventually give rise to a claim, the relationship between the two terms, if not one of logical necessity, a dispute, a conflict or controversy may exist where no one has asserted a right to relief. But for a claim to exist, a right must be asserted. So, okay, let's clear up that in English, right? So essentially saying, okay, there's something about sexual assault here. It involves sexual assault harassment. That's a dispute, right? But a claim needs a specific law, a specific way they're going to recover, right? So you could say, okay, we might dispute some facts that involve something that could look like sexual assault. But unless there's a claim there's something you're going to get money or criminal punishment for or something. There's something out there that's a claim that might not apply. So he's arguing a very technical reading of the law, very technical reading of the law. And here's the big point he makes. Mizkif does not concede that he committed a non-consensual sexual act or sexual conduct. So what we have this boiling down to here, and this is the important thing from this document, and where I'll kind of end it with this document, is he's saying he didn't do anything non-consensual in a sexual fashion. That's a fact you need to debate in court. So I think this is something that's going to have to go further down the pike to determine whether or not something happened, right? I think that we're going to need some depositions. We're going to need some more discovery, and we're going to need some more testimony on what exactly went down, right? It looks like to most people that there was indeed something that went down there. Let me actually put that up in a poll, right, and see what you guys think. So 80% of you, by the way, think Vitali is not changed. Let's see about this. Did Mizkif potentially commit SA or SH, right? SA being assault and then H being harassment, right? So I want to know what you guys think. What about Mizkif? Did he do it? I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Mana-chan, member for 22 months, says, can't answer the poll. I'm hoping jail time changed him. I hope so too. I really do. I don't want everybody to go down the evil path. I a long time ago when I was covering Vitali, I said, Vitali, I hope you change. I even said for Ramsey Khalid Ismail, I hope you change. Now, you can hope, but people make their own decisions, and they're the only ones who can decide to change. And it's really difficult to change, and you have to go through a lot of personal development for that. But people can change, right? I've changed a lot, and I continue to change, right? And I hope in what I hope are positive ways. And I think other people have that capacity, but they have to have the will to do that. Patrick S9022 says Mizkif is literally pulling a Vince McMahon, claiming everything was consensual. I mean, there was part of it that probably was, but there was a point at which that crossed the line, right? Rose Gold Cinnamon 80 said, did you see your cameo in Leaflet AI video? Asmongold put him in the box. Epic. You were fighting John Smiley. Yes, I did. I saw the ramen. I saw everything. It was great. Or the ramyun. It's Korean. Ramyun. Yes, I saw everything. It was fantastic. We watched it on my members only. So if you're a member, you can check that out. You can see my review there. Kathy Swamp Queen says, can the U.S. deny Vitali entry? This is a very good question. So is it possible? Yes, it is possible. I mean, it's possible they could revoke his green card if they really wanted to. Once again, possibility. Is it likely? Is it going to happen? We'll see. I haven't heard anything on the U.S. side, so we'll see what happens there. But could there be problems for him on the U.S. side? Absolutely. Particularly given even the amount of time he's been out of the country, et cetera. There's possibilities that he could lose his green card status. Is it possible? Right? That doesn't mean it's going to happen, people out there. And by the way, I'm not advocating one way or another for whether that should happen. Right? I'm just saying, is it possible? Sure. Yeah, it's possible. Right? There's a lot of issues with that. Send him to Greenland. Send him to Greenland. That's a good one. What is a Mizkif? Sounds painful. It's Mizkif. Can I pull up a picture of Mizkif? Let's pull up a picture of old Mizkif here. Right? Okay, here he is. Okay, is this all safe? This is all safe for work. All right, here we go. Here's Mizkif, guys. In case you guys don't know who Mizkif is, which is kind of surprising. I think you guys are usually more savvy than I am about internet stuff, but it's Mizkif. He's a streamer. I think he's exclusively over on Kick now, right? So yeah, that's a good old Mizkif. Yeah, he's a little bit of a jump scare, but don't worry. He can't hurt you guys. He can't hurt you. All right, let's get into the Asmongold's defamation. We'll whip out the PP here, guys. I think we're ready for the PP, guys. Peas in the chat. Peas in the chat for the PP. We need to be sure we're ready here. All right. Let's do this. We got one. Kick coming in first with the PP. Kick having the largest PP today. Largest PP today. Shout out to everybody who's over there, by the way. Appreciate everybody over there who's doing good. Real quick, Rexar said on Kick, have you ever heard the audiobook from Stranger International Insurance Agent by Larry Correa? Chuck Norris is a legal arbitrator. That is an interesting one. That's an interesting one. I have not. But good to see everybody over there. Love you guys on all the platforms. Okay. Let's whip it out. We've got Asmongold's defamation roadmap over here. Now, I did have a fast facts on this. If you caught that fast facts, it's really good. And the thumbnail is fire. Shout out to Frank Noirs, who made a very, very good thumbnail for that one. Chiranjeevi says, I think people are not that easy to change. You need really to have what I'll call a come to Jesus moment, but whatever, you're come to Buddha, come to whatever, right? You know, it's that moment where you're put in a really crazy position and you hit that kind of rock bottom, or you hit that hard point where you're like, my life is going to be horrible if I don't change. And then you change. And it's got to be something that really affects you. And when I've had that, it's typically been something like changing a job or losing a job, right? Or a death in the family, or a serious health crisis, or something like that. When those things happen, people, I think, can change. Going to jail can be one of those things if you use it as a Shawshank moment instead of as a opportunity to get worse, right? Right. You've got to have that. You got to have that moment. By the way, loving the Mudang emojis. Okay. Let's go here. In case you guys don't know, Asmongold has a potential defamation lawsuit. And the potential plaintiffs are actually both him and Kaze. Kaze is a streamer. I believe she tweeted out that she's 25. that was added to my fast facts. But she's not underage, right? So let me be very clear. This girl is not underage, and that's one of the big problems here is that people can't tell. Apparently, I don't know if it's because she's Asian or whatever else, right? Maybe she's shorter, right? They think that she's 17, and we're misrepresenting that she's 17. Growing up in Miami as one of the Ents, right? There were so many girls that were like 4'11", 5 foot, 5'1". Maybe they're like Peruvian or from Chile or somewhere else, and they're just generally short. And and they always would get carded at every bar, but they'd be 25, 27, 30, whatever, right? Just because you're atypical, but just because you're a certain height, right? We'll get to the height of consent meme later. Doesn't mean you're necessarily underage, right? And when people make these assumptions, I often think they've never been out of the country, have never seen like Asian people in general, right? Yeah, because like even said, it's just standard, right? It's just standard. But both of them are potential plaintiffs. So Asmongold could sue, and she could sue as well for defamation because it makes her look bad. And allegedly they're just friends, right? I don't think they've ever, they said they didn't date, so let's take them at their word. They're just friends and content creator collaborators, etc. Right? But the defendants are mostly people on X, formerly Twitter, right? And Reddit, right? Once again, we're seeing X or Twitter users, but always out there. X users always some problematic people, but Reddit people being the problem, right? Reddit coming up again as the problem. So people thinking, and once again, remember we have this case precedent from the Ethan Klein lawsuits. So the Ethan Klein lawsuits are giving us this precedent of going after and subpoenaing Reddit and subpoenaing other platforms for the information on these people. Now, Asmongold has said he already has their names. So that means without even subpoenaing them, he's already got the information somehow, which is great. But he would still subpoena them to confirm that information, right? And you could also subpoena the ISP, the internet service provider, and get their name, get their information, right? So that's all going to come up and that's all going to come out. And these people thinking they can be anonymous and thinking they can do whatever they want, those days are numbered, I think, for unlimited defamation. Now, let's read a little bit of background here. So what happened was Asmongold has faced baseless PDF allegations. And yes, I'm going to say PDF because we all know the word. And the YouTube algorithm doesn't like that, but we're on Twitch and Kick too. But not, Kick will probably not care, but YouTube and Twitch will care. So we're just going to say PDF. We all know what we're talking about here. We're all big boys and girls who've been on the internet, right? For long enough to know what it is. And if you've been on the internet, you know that you just being on the internet, especially as a man, you're going to have this word thrown at you unlimited amount of times, right? With zero proof, right? So he had these accusations, drop as they do, right? In early January 2026 from a viral X post who falsely claimed he was dating streamer Kay's when she was underage. Her age was misrepresented as 17, even though she was over 20, 25 actually. The post had 130K likes and millions of engagements, millions of views, etc. before its deletion. And then people retweeted this, right? So even though this was deleted eventually, it was retweeted. So and people copied it and copied the image and put it other places. So Asman called the allegations, the alleged information completely false and threatened defamation against anyone spreading it. So not just the original account, but also the other ones that are forwarding this information. The only defense in the opening statements here that I could even think of for the poster was that they deleted the tweet, but the harm was done. Right. And it was reposted by others. So I don't think that's going to be a good defense. This is the original post. I hid the name of the account because I don't want to give him any clout. But this is what they said here. He was 33 and she was 17. Asmongold is and then of course the PDF word is in there. Right. So and mind you, this was from like a response to like a fairly innocuous tweet here. And this does remind me of height of consent. It's very hard for me as a tall person, right? I'll never find, I mean, unless I'm dating girls that are like members of volleyball teams or basketball teams, right? It's always funny. Also, I like the 5'7" guys and 5'7" girls. This is so true. But anyways, this also happens in the anime world. I like this. This is one that came out today. I'm sharing my buddy Chibi Reviews over here, who posted this about Freerin. Oh, you haven't heard about height of consent? Height of consent means if you're so tall, you can't date short girls because it makes them look like they're underage, right? Yeah, that's height of consent. Yeah, they often wear high heels. Yes. There's no you must be this tall to ride law. No, just this old, right? That's it. By the way, we've got a lot of anime haters here, and this is a funny one. And obviously, I'm back watching Freer, and Freer is awesome. And this is reposted by Chibi Reviews here. So this person posted real quick here. This is the kind of hot springs episode of Freerin, saying flat chest, no ass, short elf ears, right? And then this person responds, so basically a child, right? And then Chibi goes, let me summarize. Over 93,000 people are shaming women if they have this body type and saying they're child if they have it. Very funny. And that's essentially like the tomboy archetype, which people are trying to kill and go away, right? Nothing wrong with that. If you are a person or a girl who has that body type, that's fine. There's actually really attractive girls that have that body type, and that's fine, right? It is what it is. So there's nothing wrong with being tomboys, and there's a lot of people who love tomboys. Tomboys are fine, right? But there's no way in which this girl is actually a tomboy. If you looked at this girl's photos, right? And I'll show some evidence here. This is Uncle Mindset's private evidence locker, right? If you look at the Exhibit A and Exhibit B here, looking very professionally at these photos, right? In no way, in my professional opinion, very professional, this is not a 17-year-old, right? Clearly, if you just spent 2 seconds looking at the evidence, yes, that this is a woman, right? Very clearly, right? And all you have to do is go to their X account and just open their X account, and you see a lot of pictures that are like this. In fact, these are more tame, respectful photos that I pulled from the X account. If I pulled different ones, I would probably be taken down. Yes, this is of course all professional, guys. This is just, this is just part of the legal process, right? And we just have to learn to enjoy the legal process here. But yes, this is not a 17-year-old, right? And anybody with two eyes, or who's keeping their eyes where their eyes should be, would know the right answer to that. Let me get into the argument here in a second, but let me answer some of these super chats. Ree Herrera, did you go to his range day? Yes, I did. I did go there. If you watch my intro, when I'm firing the MP5, that's at his content creator range day. It was awesome. Atozi was there. It was really fun. Eli from Unsub wants to take guys to Asia. Would you do? Yeah, I would do it. Yeah, absolutely. And Eli's a buddy of mine. After that, he shot me some shooting tips when I was there in Staccato, Vegas. And I do plan on trying to come out to Texas to do some shooting with them if I can at some point. And I would definitely go on with them and talk. Yeah. And they're welcome out here. And if they want to come out and do some Asia content, I'm happy to help them. I will be spending more time in Japan and Korea this year and doing a lot more traveling. So I look forward to creating more content from all over Asia. Bangkok is my home, is my second home. I love it here. It's amazing. But I need to spread the good word of mindset all across Asia. The Einhander for 20 months says the height of consent. You're not tall enough to ride. Yeah, no, I know. It's funny. It's just it's more of a joke at this point. What are the tag images with no content? Plain TIFFs. Yeah. Kid Loco said Adobe Acrobat Editor, the one used for documents. Lol, we use that type of program in the company lines. There we go. Wait, what is a woman? We're not going there. Bad News Badger says put him in a box. That's right. Put him in a box. A very good music video, and it shows you what AI can do and make it look not like AI. They can make it look like anime. So let's get into the arguments here. The original poster is the best target for Asmongold's defamation suit. I think other lawsuits, other accounts repost the same information could be added as parties to Asmongold's lawsuit. And Asmongold, he said this himself. He's already in a lawsuit and dealing with lawyers with Mizkif. He could just pay the same lawyers to deal with this as well. He might as well. You're already in one. Just throw another one in there and get this done. He's already got the contacts, so might be a good chance to do it. Asmongold would need to subpoena X and Reddit for user data and preservation of evidence, which you should do sooner than later. There is a short statute of limitations. He has 1 to 3 years to do this. And now the law does prevent direct suit of X or Reddit under Section 230. A lot of people, including myself, hate Section 230. Section 230 is really annoying because it allows platforms to get away with a lot of BS and not get sued. But there is precedent in the Ethan Klein lawsuit in terms of subpoenaing, and I think this actually is going to go more towards improving people's behavior online if he files. And if he files this as a John Doe lawsuit to identify the poster, he can still seek a bunch of money for reputational harm, emotional damages, losses, etc. And worst comes to worst, he subpoenas the ISP and gets their address, etc. Right? So my judgment is Asmongold is large enough to force changes on platforms as a result of legal action. So my thought here is this, guys. If Asmongold sues this person, people might start thinking before they accuse people of being a PDF or before they throw out criminal allegations, because he's big enough for that. And the platforms themselves may start actually looking at people who make these allegations and start punishing them, right? That needs to happen. If you are going to make a criminal allegation, like if you want to call somebody a murderer or a burglar or a PDF, these are all crimes. You want to do that, you need to have evidence and court evidence, right? Legal evidence. It needs to have a conviction, right? Pull up their rap sheet, pull up their information, right? Show a conviction for those crimes, because that's what you need to call somebody that. You can't just call somebody that because you feel like it. It's a criminal allegation. Lightwolf86 for 200 yen says, will you also cover Logan versus Coffee? Yeah, I mean to circle back to that one, so I will get that one. Yes, I will get Logan and Coffee. Thank you for that suggestion. So I think internal compliance departments will be forced to take action regarding these unsupported criminal allegations. And if Asmongold is mentally, meaning his mindset's in the right place, and he definitely has the money, it will be a net good to the internet. It will be a net good to the internet. Ultimately, it's up to him, as it'll be a burden on Asmongold in his life, but all the conditions are in Asmongold's favor. So I really do believe that Asmongold should sue and should take this one to court, because he's got the money and he's got the resources to do it. And I think that would be a good for the internet. So I think that if Asmongold wants to do good, I think suing these people would be a good thing. It would be a good thing. Unbound Valkyrie 9489 with a very gigabase 10 legal mindset memberships. Shondo approves.
Not as in, I cannot absolve you. Mega based.
Very base. Thank you so much for that. Also, Doc Halliday 5472 for 5 says, good morning, Andrew. With the AI bubble about to burst, what's going on with OpenAI? Would you maybe do a video? Could you email me about what you think the legal issue is there? I know that there's going to be economic issues with any bubble that's about to burst, right? Any industries that are inflated. But if you have specific legals, hit me up on X or shoot me an email, andrewesquirelive@gmail.com, and tell me what you think the legal issues there are. I'm happy to cover that if there's a legal issue, right? Not just a pure economics guy, because I'm not George Gammon or someone who just goes over economics, right? But that's it is a very good point. It's a very good point. All right, guys, that's what I have for today. We had a nice stream today. I'll be back tomorrow with more. We got Don Lemon potentially coming up. I'm gonna have a Somali update because we've got his trial coming up in just a couple weeks. So we are gonna have a Somali update this week. We're gonna have a Somali update this week. That's going to happen. Stay tuned for the Somali update. We've got some Don Lemon. We've got a bunch of other stuff to cover. Stay based, everybody, and I will catch you on the next one. Don't be coping and...
You are coping and seething. You just can't believe what you're seeing. It's you coping and seething. The truth it is all day, and now you are more.